Today, we will talk about how to overcome poverty. Let's have a look at the details. Poverty is about a lack of money, but also about a lack of hope. People living in poverty often feel powerless to change their situation. They can feel isolated from their community. If you want to overcome poverty, you need a combination of financial planning, a positive attitude, and a willingness to ask for help. The first step is to improving your situation. Educate yourself. Research shows that you stand to make more money if you have a higher level of education. If you want to get out of poverty and stay out, one of the best things you can do is get the right education and training. Some careers only require a 2-year degree and offer $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Go to your local community college and see what programs they offer. They should be able to help you find careers in high demand. Talk to the financial aid office about programs to help you pay tuition. Depending on your circumstances, you may not need to take out student loans. Examine your housing options. Finding affordable housing can be difficult if you're living on or below minimum wage. If you're renting, try to find a roommate. Sharing the cost of housing can make things much more affordable. Look for better work. Chances are, if you're living in poverty, you already work multiple jobs. Working 2 or more jobs is not a permanent solution to overcoming poverty, and may cause more stress than it relieves. If you don't have access to the internet at your house, use the public library. Build a LinkedIn account to help you with your job search. Build your profile to attract potential employers. Include a professional photograph and a catchy headline. Fill out as much of the profile as you can. Treat it like an overflow for your resume. If you have a lot of volunteer experience but can't fit it on your resume, include it in your profile. Try to negotiate a raise. Depending on how long you've been in your current job, you may be able to persuade your manager to give you a raise. However, make sure you have a reason to ask for a raise before scheduling a meeting with your boss. The second step is to managing your money. Pay off any outstanding loans. If you have any debt at all, pay it off as soon as you can. You cannot afford to be in debt if you're making minimum wage or less. Look into banking alternatives. Some banks charge fees if you don't have a minimum amount in your account. This can make it difficult to save money. However, there are banking alternatives that may help you get on your feet. Start a budget. Without a budget, it can be hard to keep track of your expenses. You're more likely to overspend and less likely to set aside money for savings. Don't rely on payday loans for emergency funds. Payday loans can be tempting, but they are never a good idea. Relying on payday loans will only make your financial situation worse. It may be difficult, and will likely take some financial creativity, but try to start an emergency fund. A good goal for a starting emergency fund is $500. That may seem like a lot of money, but start small. Try to set aside around $10 per paycheck. Avoid shopping at rent-to-own stores. Rent-to-own stores are appealing on the surface. You see something you want to buy, but can't afford, and they give you a way to afford it. But, if you shop at these stores you will end up paying far more in interest than the item is worth. Shop for used goods. There is no reason to buy everything new. If you have a little extra money, it can be tempting to splurge and treat yourself to something nice. However, if you do this too often, you run the risk of creating bad spending habits. If you can find it used, take that route and save yourself some money. Find ways to pay for health insurance. Health insurance is not always affordable, but there are ways to get coverage if you are living in poverty. Maintaining your health is important, especially if you are living in poverty. People living in poverty are more susceptible to health problems, and medical bills can be devastating. If you have health insurance through the federal or state government, you may be eligible for a subsidy. The requirements for eligibility are usually based on household income and family size. Save your change. Starting a change jar isn't going to make you rich overnight, but it will help you save small amounts that you can add to your savings account. Put your loose coins into a jar at the end of each day. When you fill the jar, roll your coins and put them into a savings account. Learn to barter. You can barter for goods or services. If you have a particular skill set that you feel comfortable advertising, try using it to barter for things you need. To start bartering, decide what good or service you need. Then, think about what goods and services you can offer. You may be able to trade an hour of housekeeping, or a small household repair, for example. Find a partner you're willing to trade with, and negotiate the terms of the agreement. Save as much as you can. You may not have a lot of extra money if you're making minimum wage. Even with a second job, most of your money is probably going towards paying bills or paying down your debt. Still, if you have any extra money at all, put it aside. Find small ways to save money by cutting back on your utility expenses. Turn off the lights when you aren't in a room. Seal any leaks you can find in your doors and windows. Rather than turn the heat up when it gets cold at night, throw on an extra blanket. These tricks may only save a little at a time, but it could add up. Consider waiting 24 hours before making the purchase. If you wake up the next day and your first thought is about buying the item in question, wait a little longer. See how long you can go without the item. The fourth step is getting help. Ask for help with childcare. If you have kids, talk to your local community center about their drop-in programs. Some community centers offer low-cost or free programs for kids. Get help from a financial opportunity center. If you're struggling with changing your financial behavior, seek help from a financial opportunity center, FOC. A FOC will help you increase your income and decrease your expenses. FOC works with low-income individuals to help them overcome poverty and secure financial independence. Surround yourself with positive people. Don't let poverty isolate you from your community. It's important to be a part of a supportive community when things get tough. Being a part of a community will encourage you to stay on track and meet your goals. Find ways to engage with your community in a meaningful way, such as through support groups, social events, and learning circles. Get credit counseling. If you're struggling with getting out of debt, it may be helpful to get some financial advice. While getting help from a credit counseling organization may not be free, they may be able to help you get on your feet. When searching for help, avoid scams. If you find an organization that you want to do business with, make sure they are legitimate. Pay attention to any contracts or paperwork involved. Conduct an interview with any potential candidates. Ask what services they offer, what their fees are, and what qualifications they have. Make sure that the organization provides resources for you to get out of debt, such as debt management classes and budget counseling. The fourth step is staying strong. Try the shift and persist approach. It's no secret that living in poverty is stressful. Studies have shown that people living in poverty deal with higher levels of stress but have fewer resources to fight it. One method, known as the shift and persist method, may help you deal with stress. The shift and persist method of dealing with stress is a way to examine your stressors and find ways to cope with them. Rather than trying to get rid of the stressor, accept your situation and adjust your outlook. The key to making shift and persist work is to keep working towards future goals. Don't become resigned to the situation you are in and don't give up. Practice self-affirmation. Recognize that you have value and don't let poverty get in the way of your feeling of self-worth. Think of times in the past when you were successful. Remind yourself daily that you have what it takes to solve your problems. Follow a healthy diet. Living in poverty is often associated with a poor diet and unhealthy habits. Processed foods are inexpensive but contribute to poor health. Find foods you can use in multiple meals. By buying a select few staple ingredients, you can ensure that you're always able to make a meal. Keep things like flour, spices, garlic, and lemons on hand. If you can, buy items in bulk to save money. You may not always be able to afford to stock up on certain pantry items, but when you can, it's worth it. Try setting aside a little money each month for more expensive pantry items. Find time to exercise. Along with a proper diet, exercise is one of the best ways to defend your body from stress. You may not have the resources to join a gym, but you can still find ways to stay active at home. Go for walks. If you have a pet or kids, this is a great activity. Walking is a good way to increase your heart rate, not to mention get out of the house. Try to spend at least 30 minutes a day doing some kind of physical activity. Jog in place while you watch TV. Do push-ups or sit-ups during commercials. You don't have to spend a solid 30 minutes exercising. You can split it up into two 15-minute segments if you need to. Set personal goals. Think about what you want to accomplish in life, both short-term and long-term. Write your goals down, and remind yourself daily why you're pursuing them. It can be easy to lose sight of long-term goals, especially if you know it could be years until you reach them. To avoid neglecting your long-term goals, set aside time to work on them. Don't let your short-term goals get in the way of your long-term goals. Develop good habits to help you reach your goals. Wake up early, read books related to your goals, and pursue activities that will benefit you. You may have to replace some bad habits that occupy your time, such as watching too much TV. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.